We're joined now by the Sisters of Life from New York City. Sisters, could you introduce yourselves for us?
Hi, I'm Sister Aunt Marie.
I am Sister Faustina Maria Pia.
And how big is your group that you're with?
We're here with 12.
Well,
Yes.
and everyone's from New York City? Is that?
New York City and New Jersey.
Okay. Tell us about your shirt there.
This is what we get actually from the internet, and we just threw in some new ideas like Mary and I'm with them.
A neat theme to show us. So what's your experience been like so far? When did you get into Brazil?
It's been wonderful. We flew in Thursday and Friday, and we did a few days at the Days of the Diocese up in a diocese north of here. And it was just a very incredible experience of experiencing the faith in another culture, but the similarity in that, and just to witness the love and hospitality of the people who hosted us was incredible. A town that is struggling maybe with means, but like really just totally poured themselves out in welcoming us. And there was just a great sense of joy and rejoicing in the faith together.
So I think now they call that Mission Week. That's kind of a cultural exchange and a sharing in the faith. But I like that kind of new stress of evangelization. And hopefully you share something with them and they're sharing something with you. Did those families teach you something? Did you?
For myself, it was just about hospitality and the love and the warmness that they had for all of us. It was just pure love, pure heart for everyone.
They did have a little samba teaching session over there, which was very nice, yeah.
Can you do some for us now?
Oh gosh, no. I can't. But it was great just to be with them and share, again, their culture. And something that really stuck with me is the fact that the pastor said that all the kids that were there, they were actually the ones that go to Mass every week, that are part of the youth group. So it's not just people that came because there were people coming in, but they're actually involved in the church. And that is a great thing. That's a great thing.
And what is the name of your youth group that you're with?
We call YG. It's just basically youth group. A little lack of originality back there in New York. But the ministry that we come with is called John 23rd. It's mainly for Hispanic folks. And the mission is to bring people that are away from the church back into the faith. Our founder always used to say the church doesn't grow when you fish within the fishbowl. You have to search for people outside of the faith and then bring them back in, show them the love of Christ. And that's basically the mission for us.
Now, something pretty special for John the 23rd is happening this year. Sisters, can you tell us about this? And maybe for those watching or listening right now who don't know, what's going to happen this year with John the 23rd?
Sure, we found out recently that John the 23rd is going to become a saint, so we're very excited, especially with this group here, and the beautiful witness of our Holy Fathers, not only being a father for the church, but a patron saint and also an example. That's really to be raised to that level of the altar, so we're very excited, very committed.
So will the name of the youth group change from YG to Saint YG?
Probably.
Consider that, yeah.
A little samba to go with it when you get out?
We've got to teach them a little bit, yeah.
There you go.
Have you all had some activities that go outside the fishbowl that have worked?
Well, we often do a lot of retreats, and usually people that come to our retreats, they have a lot of alcohol problems or drug problems, and sometimes even just marriage problems and stuff like that. And we usually, after the retreats, we do follow-ups and meetings to kind of see where these people are in their lives and in their faith. And obviously, we always work with priests and spiritual directors that kind of help them along the way as well. So it's been growing. Our founder actually met with Pope Francis a couple months back because we're trying to get the pontifical approval for the ministry that we're doing. And so far, it's been a great thing. And it's helped to change a lot of families.
What do you think has attracted them to your group?
Well, at first, they didn't want to come. They didn't want to do the retreat. They didn't want to be a part of it. But again, having that encounter with Christ in those retreats, like I'm sure you guys know, you guys do a lot of retreats as well, to have that presence of Christ in your life and to know that He loves you above all things, that's just an amazing thing. That's something that changes you. And that's something that we try to bring to a lot of people that do not know Christ and they do not know His love. And that's basically what changes. It's not anything that we do, but it's all the love of Christ.
Doug and I, we've been here a few days now, and we first got here, we hardly saw any pilgrims. Slowly seeing the city fill up with pilgrims, you see the joy, and it's always such a striking contrast to me between the secular city. Yeah, they're down below right now, and
We're trying to tape a show right now.
that's one of my groups just below the scaffold here. But I think that joy is infectious and attractive. I think I think that's the real kind of secret of world youth today, is that the world sees a joyous youth following Christ. We all want that joy. I know, sisters, you work in the streets of New York City. Certainly a powerful message there, isn't it?
It is, and we see it over and over again. People's desire and hunger to know Christ and to really know the joy of knowing Christ. And so it's a beautiful opportunity that we have here at World Youth Day, but also when we go back home, to share that with others and really encourage them to say, you know, God's love is real and it's possible for you, not only for me, and they can experience that just by talking to us, seeing our smile, hearing our words, and knowing that this is the answer to their desire for happiness is really Christ, and knowing Him and how that changes our life, gives so much meaning and joy to everything we do. Yeah.
So, Sister Fiat, what would you say to the world watching or listening right now about your name and how it relates to how we should give ourselves to Christ?
Well, I think one thing that I think I pray about a lot in the Fiat of Our Lady is just the total joy and freedom of when you completely give yourself to the Lord, you know, that abandonment, like that is the joy of like the childlike heart, you know.
Fiat means what?
Let it be done unto me. Either to Our Lady or Our Father, Fiat, will attest to us. So, yeah, that's the complete freedom. I think that's the goal of life, you know, of any vocation.
Now, we've got some good solo music in the background. They're doing a sound check right now for the event that's going to be taking place later over here, and we're hearing that music pop up once in a while. Does it make you just want to break into dance? Sure, yeah, you bet, yeah. So, really, I mean, the fact that really the theme is to go and make disciples is the theme, and there needs to be that total giving, but before that happens, there needs to be almost a formation. There has to be the formation within our own hearts and lives. There has to be that relationship there, that encounter with Christ first. What do you say to that? I ask you that question about that, the necessity of having that encounter with Christ and having your heart and mind formed in order to be that disciple to go out and make disciples of the nation.
Very necessary, especially, you know, within our group. We know how necessary that is, and we do that with formation. And it's really easy to forget that emotion, that sort of the fullness of the Holy Spirit. Once you have that encounter with God, you know that you need to take a step forward after that. It's not about emotion, but it's about forming yourself and knowing what Christ wants for you. And emotion could just pass on and be let out. But once you start forming yourself and knowing what God wants for you, what is, you know, what you need to take the next step forward, then, you know, you start growing in your faith.
And that is something to consider, isn't it, sisters, is that when these events end, the emotion does die down. And people think when a retreat ends, there's something emotional. We are emotional beings. There's an aspect that's very valid. But that does die off. And God does like to purify us of those emotions. Faustina, of course, St. Faustina, Sister Faustina, went through tremendous amounts of that kind of purification, as all the saints do to some degree. Sister, what would you say to that? When the events end and we all go back home and that emotion dies off, what we're left with, what do we do with that?
Well, God uses that emotion to kind of draw our heart, and for us to recognize, you know what, this is a response to my heart. Like, He knows my heart. He knows that I desire to get close to Him. So when we go home and we don't feel the same thing, we don't have the crowds around us cheering, you know, Viva Cristo, or we don't feel carried by people around us. We're alone, or our friends might be saying different things. We can recall that, and God uses memory as an important thing. Recall the graces that we've received. Recall that, you know, I experienced something real, and it was real. And I think to remember that that was a real experience, that it wasn't something that, you know, I just thought, but to really know and to go inside our hearts, because we can travel all the way down here to Rio, but we're not gaining anything unless we travel right here into our heart. We encounter Christ in our heart, so when we go home, to turn to the Lord in our hearts and to recognize His presence is with me no matter where I am, you know, and to seek Him in our thoughts and in our hearts. And when we start to do that, we start to recognize His presence wherever we go, and that is what really brings the joy of being a Christian, and gives us the strength and the fortitude. So to really be faithful to seeking Him and praying to Him in your daily lives. Yeah.
We just have about 30 seconds left. How has this experience helped you in your religious life, seeing this?
Well, it's a huge source of encouragement. I think that it just deepens my joy not only to be a Catholic, but to be a daughter of the church. This is our church. No matter what language, what culture you're from, you look at these and you say, I've never met you before, but I know you because I know Christ. And it's our participation in Christ's desire to be one. Like, we come together and we truly want to be one as a church and as a family, and to really bring others into that. So it's very much strengthening for me.
I would say that it's really a sharing of the thirst of Christ. You know, especially the theme this year, like, go make disciples. You know, as you, again, it's kind of like as you're trying the Lord. When you love someone, you want to share in what their desire and
¿Quién más está ahí? ¿Quién es el que está allá?
everyone, so, you know,
Carlos?
wants to know everyone deeply, and so there's this zeal and fire that deepens in that.
All right, well, thank you so much for making time for us today. And we have a special music video for you from Copacabana Beach with Steve Agrazano.